Hey, my lovelies, it's me, author Alexandria Infante. Bienvenido to our channel. Thank you for coming. So, today we will be reviewing author Lexy Smart. So, yesterday we did Lexy Johnson. Now, today we're doing Lexy Smart. So Lexy writes, which she writes under the pen name Lexy Smart, but she's actually author SK Blue. Um, she writes YA, so she wanted to try her hand at some adult stuff. And so when we did the Christmas shorts, which is what we call them, the books don't go over 70 pages, and then they have no ending. So basically, you, the reader, send us what you think the ending should be. So today we'll be reviewing her little short because she only has one other book out, and that's it's YA. So we don't do YA until Sunday. So we're gonna go ahead and do her tonight. And next week, just a little heads up, next week we will start with the full-on indie authors. This week we're doing the housemates. We'll do them somewhere down the road again too, because like Kenesha Knowles, she has two paranormal series. We won't be doing me unless it's Jenny or Erica, because it'd be kind of cheesy to read my own books. And then Arlie has 18 books so far. And so later down the line, like after maybe like in our third week or something, we'll review them again. So we're starting out with them, and then next week we will go on to the full-on indie authors. So remember, this channel features indie authors only, pretty much. Saturdays we will do mainstream authors, which is basically all of the big blockbusters and stuff like that. But for the most part, Monday through Friday, it's indie authors. And then Sunday, it's indie YA authors. So thank you so much for tuning into our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Help us get this channel off to a roaring start. So, as I was saying, tonight we're going to review Lexy Smart. And her book is, y'all gotta excuse me for a second, gotta put my glasses on. Her book is called A Christmas Bite. So, even though it's Christmas has passed, we're still a little bit into the Christmas spirit because it's not quite the 5th yet. Me personally, I leave my tree up to the 5th, pine needles all over the floor and everything, but still, it just gives me that festive. So I like to observe the Chinese New Year. So that's when I throw my tree away finally. So we're still in a little bit of Christmas spirit here. So basically, this is the book. It's called, I hope you guys can see it. It's really giving like awful lot too much white. It's called A Christmas Bite. Yeah. And so, it's probably pretty obvious that if it's called A Christmas Bite, then it has to do with vampires. You got it. So, basically, Soledad Ruida is the main character. So, for most of you who don't know, Arlie, me, and Lexy, we write Latina, Afro-Latina, and multicultural. So, that's why you'll get a name like Ruida, because the main character is Afro-Latina. She's Dominican, Puerto Rican, and I think French, something like that. I'm sorry, I totally drew a blank on that. But anyway, so Soledad is she basically works for this corporate, America type, whatever. This book is IR, so which basically means that, or it can be considered multicultural because of the main character Soledad, and then the main character, male character, Kieran, is British. So he's a Brit. And so she works for corporate America. And so to relax, this book is sizzle meter. It's probably a 10. So to relax, she has this ongoing relationship with Kieran. I think it's 2040, something like K2040. So she's never met him. She talks to him online constantly. And so basically, they have this little tete a tete. It's very, risque. And for 6 months now, they've basically been going back and forth on online, talking to each other. She doesn't turn the camera on her side because she hasn't basically, the book tells you that she hasn't gotten that courage yet. But what she doesn't know is that for the entire time that they've been having this little tete-a-tete for the last 6 months, his side of the camera is on. So he can actually see her. She doesn't know that he can see her, but he has actually seen her for the entire 6 months. So he thinks she's beautiful. There are times in the conversation when he will get like emotional, and so she's not looking for that. She had a string of boyfriends that she was done with, and she's trying to do her and her only. So basically, he can see her, she can't see him, and so he pretty much falls for her. So he owns the company that she works at. She has no clue about that. And so what he does is he decides to, like, he's cleaning house basically, and it's been on the wire for like forever that Mr. Saint Knight is coming in to pretty much clean house, see whose job is going to be on the line, whose job isn't. And so she's, for the last 6 months, they did a merger with some kind of .com company, and so she's kind of been like, a little afraid because she's thinking, oh, I might lose my job. The book takes place in New York, so it's like a Manhattan down, high rise, corporate, all of that. And so she lives on Staten Island, and he lives in Great Britain. So he lives in London with a couple of other places. So basically, she's been talking to him for the last 6 months. She knows everything that there is to know about him that he says. He tells her everything about himself. And so she thinks she knows him like inside and out. So anyway, so she goes to work, and the big bosses are supposed to be coming in this day. And so instead of like being, pretty much afraid like everyone else, she doesn't really think about it one way or the other. So he calls in, he says, okay, this is it. Finally, I'm going across the pond. You find out here that he's actually a 700-year-old vampire. She has no clue that he's a vampire. And so he decides to come across the pond because, of course, he's Kieran St. Knight. So he needs to clean out house. He needs to, get the business back to what it is. Or at least that's what they think. And so he calls her and her team. She's a graphic artist. So he calls her and her team into his office. And then he's like, okay, one of you has to go. And so she's like, wait, what? He goes, there's four of you that work in the department. I don't need four. I only need, three is too many, but four is like way too much. And then so she automatically gets like irate because she's like, okay, but you didn't call the men in. There's 5 dudes that work on blah, 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 but yet you didn't call them in here. You only called us. And so he's like, are you basically trying to tell me how to do my job? And she's like, if the shoe fits. And then so she mocks his British accent. And so I thought this scene was like really, really funny. And so he's like, so he stands up, she stands up, and then they're like nose to nose. And he's pretty much trying not to laugh because he knows her She doesn't know him. So she has no clue that this is K202 that she's been talking to for the last 6 months. And so he pretty much tries his hardest, like, not to kiss her because he's dying laughing inside. And so, but she's like literally pissed off because she's thinking, this is jacked up. You're going to fire one of us, but you're keeping all these dudes. And so she goes, you know what? Forget it. I quit. And then so her team is like, oh, because she's basically runs that department, and she goes, I quit. Because he's pretty much saying, okay, you can do last one hired, first one fired if you choose, or you could do whatever because I really don't care. Just one of you needs to go. And so I think her name is Krista in the book. Krista is like the single mom. Her husband dumped her, ran off to Mexico with, like his little hottie secretary. So she doesn't want Krista to like have a hardship because in the book it tells you that the character Soledad, she grew up in foster care. Well, not so much foster care, but she grew up with the nuns. Like her parents gave her away when she was a baby, and then the nuns raised her, and then she was basically like in a, not a nunnery, because a nunnery is usually for like women who want to take their vow of chastity and become nuns, but it's like a little school for young girls, sort of like a nunnery in case they decide to go into the nunnery. So she felt really bad because she's like, I don't want her to lose her job, and then she has 3 kids that she needs to take care of. So I'm just going to quit. She goes, I quit. And then he's like, wait, I wasn't done with you. And so she's like, yeah, you are. And she's like, I quit, blah, 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 blah. And then so when she goes out into the office, the head of the team, or like the entire office, the manager, he's like, why would you cause trouble? And she was like, I'm not causing trouble. I quit. So what's it to you? Kid, don't you just hate people who can never mind their own business? It's like, that's in New York, that's a rule. Mind your business. So I don't understand why people don't get it. But anyway, and so she's like, I'm not understanding how this is causing trouble for you because I quit. That's nothing to do with you. And then so he goes off and he starts telling her that he's sick of her feminist ways. She's always causing problems. This is why no dude in here would touch her. And then so she's pretty well like, if the fact that they don't want to touch me pretty much says what type of men that they are. And she just says a whole bunch of stuff that I really can't say because we might have some little ones watching this. Well, I hope not. You're supposed to be here on Sundays. But and so she says a lot of stuff to him, and then he tries to slap her, and then so she does like this karate move and she sends him like flying, and then all of a sudden the owner like stands in his pathway and he's like, no, that's not happening. Because if you guys remember, he's already in love with her. So, of course, he's not going to be like, you're not going to hit my girl. And so, basically, she packs her stuff, and he's like, she goes to leave. But as she's standing there, the dude, Richard, who is the office manager, who tries to hit her, I believe that's what his name is, he said, his wife, Sandy, gets off of the elevator. And so, she's at the point, she gets off the elevator just as Soledad is telling all of his business about the fact that he cheats on his wife. He's this, he's that, and that. She hopes that Sandy leaves him, da-da-da-da. And then it's like she turns to leave and it's like smack. She runs right into his wife. And then his wife looks at her and she goes, you know what? Thank you. And then she kisses her on the cheek and she goes toward the elevator. And then so this is why he tried to hit her. And so, he goes and he's yelling for the wife to come back. And the wife is just like, no. And then so Soledad pretty much yells out, if you need a witness, I'm here for you, girl. And so that's when he turns around and he tries to hit her. And then she sends him flying, and then he gets back up and he's going to like try to hit her again. And then Kieran steps in front of him and he's like, no, you need to go to your office, blah, 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 blah. And then so Soledad is like pretty much done. She goes to the elevator with her little box of stuff. And then surprisingly, he gets on the elevator with her. And then so he says, oi. He's like, oi. You know, I love Alfred say that. And so she stops, she pauses, she's like trying not to hold the elevator for him, but he gets on anyway. And then so in the elevator, he actually kisses her, and then he tells her that he has another job for her. So technically, he wasn't firing her. He wasn't going to let her quit, from what we read. But you know, she's got a strong personality, so she was like, "I'm out of here." And so basically, he asked her to go to dinner with him. You get the then the relationship between her and her best friend Kenya. They pretty much grew up together in this little nunnery school or whatever, and then they went to college together. They got their degrees, but she decided to get married, and her husband opened up a restaurant. So you get a little bit of that, you know, some Dominican culture, which I thought was really cool because, hey, I'm Latina, I'm Boricua. So I thought that was really cool that you get some vibe, you know, the Latina vibe in the book. You know, there's actually some Spanish in there, guys. So she does translate for you, so you won't be like annoyed that you can't understand what it is. And so she goes to dinner with him, and then he gives her this proposal. He pretty much wants her to take over this guy Richard's job, because he already knew that Richard was a douche, and so he just pretty much proved it. And so he wants her to take over his job. And so he gives her the full on 411 of it. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to run to the restroom and I'll be right back. And then I'll pretty much give you your answer. And so while she leaves, he pricks his finger and drops his blood into her glass. And so basically what that means in this world is that now he has access to her dreams, and not so much, he can't trance her. Like, you know, I mean, if he wanted to transfer, of course he could, because he's a vampire. But he doesn't trance her, or the blood drops that he put into her drink is not enough, as at least the author like tells you this. This is what he's telling you, that it's not enough to trance her or to basically control her mind wise. It's just enough for him to step into her dreams. And so, well, we already know what comes after that. The simple fact that he wants to step into her dreams, and they've been doing this thing for 6 months now, to where they're both on. He's on one side of the camera, she's on the other side of the camera. He can see her, but she can't see him. So, and then it's like they have this really, really hot scene, and then she jerks awake because she's like, "What the heck?" And then he jerks awake, and he's like, well, not so much awake, but he jerks conscious, I should say. And then he's just like, wow, okay, so that's pretty much my bloodmate right there. And then she stops the book. So, now, let's review it. So, I like the book. I like the way that it flowed. I like I said, I'm Latina, so I like the fact that she incorporated the culture, because I feel like when you are a multicultural, interracial, you know, you don't have to, because some people get annoyed with that, which I don't understand. I mean, culture, African American, you know, I'm Boricua, so I got me some African roots. I think those things should be embraced. It's not that we're trying to ostracize people, or we're trying to make you feel, you know, inferior or whatever. It isn't. It's just that it's the life that we live. So sometimes as an author, you want to incorporate that into your work. And so I like that, because you got a little bit of the dynamics between her and her best friend Kenya, and the you know, the embracement of culture, and then her husband, Kenya's husband, and then the Brits. You know, you got all of this British slang in there, which I really, really love. I mean, if you've read any of my books, you know, my books, they pretty much, British and Scottish is the staple of them. So I like the fact that she intertwined that in there too. Excuse me. As far as the ending, it is abrupt. So it is a cliffhanger. The whole point of this series, when we started it was because we wanted the readers to interact and to tell us how they think the book should end. Because sometimes you'll get reviews where a reader will be like, this book should not have ended like that. She should have did blah, 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 blah. And so we're giving you that chance to end the book the way you want it to end. So that's what she's doing. In this book, it has no ending. So I'm letting you guys know that right now. She tells you that at the beginning of the book as well, that the book doesn't go over 70 pages. It's a cliffhanger and it has no ending. So there is no ending for this book until you, the reader, gives her one. So it's Kenesha, me, Aurelie, and Lexy. There's 10 books in the series. So you have to give her the ending. And as far as it is, here is the cover again. It's called A Christmas Bite. And as you can see, it's by Lexy Smart. It's at Amazon.com. I believe it's at Barnes & Nobles. And here's the awesome thing. It's only 99 cents. She doesn't charge more than that. It's 99 cents. So you can get this in the Kindle version, the Nook version, and it's only 99 cents. It only costs you $1. So I really enjoyed it, even though it's short. I enjoyed it, and I liked it a lot. And so all I can say is give her an ending. You know, I can't, but you can. So give her an ending. I would give the book a solid 8 because I did see 1 or 2 typos. I mean, yes, she's my housemate, but, you know, truth is truth, y'all. I mean, I know I probably have some too. I've actually seen some big, huge. I saw a typo in a Dan Brown, and that was very, very shocking. I didn't think Dan wrote that way, but hey, see, everybody is subject to typos. So, that's pretty much it. And we thank you guys for watching this episode or this review. Once again, the author is Lexy Smart, and her book is called A Christmas Bite. And it's 99 cents, and you can get it on Amazon. The author is Lexy Smart. Not Lexi Johnson like last night, but Lexy Smart. And it's interracial or multicultural. It is very, very risque. The sizzle meter would probably be a 9.5. And so this book is not for children. You understand? You cannot read this. It's not for you. This is 18 plus. 18 is really pushing it too. But you have to be over 18 to read this. I know you little ones hear me out there. So this is not for you. But for everyone else, get your sexy on. Because this is very sexy. And we will see you tomorrow with another review. I won't say who we're reviewing yet because I'm not exactly sure. Because as you can see, for 2 days now, Jenny was supposed to do the reviews, but she had work and then she had something else with her nan that came up because her nan hasn't been doing really good this year. Well, last year and now starting this year. So I'm cutting her a break. And then Erica is working this week. So you're going to see this face until next week because I am the only one left to do this for this week. So you will see me until Monday. And we thank you guys for watching us and subscribe. Subscribe. We need your subscriptions. And we thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed. And look for the Facebook post and the Twitter and the Instagram. And then also, if you need the submission requirements, again, just pop over there. I believe it's that way or that way. Either way. and watch the submission video, and it will tell you everything that you need to know in order to submit to our channel so we can review your work. Next week, Monday, we will be starting with the indie authors that have contacted us and who want to actually be on our channel. We're so thankful for that. Thanks, guys. You rock. And so this week we will finish out with our housemates. After that, we'll be going full steam with actual indie authors. And you can watch. Come on, watch. Even if it's not you, watch the other ones to see the reviews that we give your friends. Thanks, bunches. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.